Hello, welcome to GED exam preparation class. I am your host and instructor, Ruben Herrera. And on this lesson, we are going to learn about scientific notation. So what is scientific notation? Scientific notation, my friends, is not really an operation. It's not really something that we have to solve, but scientific notation is a way to write numbers. And what type of numbers? Okay, the numbers are going to be numbers that are very large or very small. For example, let us look at this number right here. I have this number right here. This, my friends, this is how many pounds the earth weighs. This is a lot of pounds. I don't even know if I can pronounce, or I don't even know what's the name of this number. I know it's 130, and then maybe it's quintillions. I don't know. Uh, I'll have to investigate it. But anyways, notice that we have the 13 right here, and then we have right here 24 zeros. Okay, so this number, it is too large to write. So calculators and also computers do something like this. They write the numbers, or they interpret very large or very small numbers with scientific notation. Okay, to write this number in scientific notation, my friends, I'm going to do the following. So this number right here, this is a whole number, my friends. It's a very large number, but nonetheless, it's a whole number. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put, if this was a whole number, my friends, would you guys agree with me that there is an invisible decimal point right here? But only smart people can see it. Can you guys see it? Very good. So this decimal period is right here. We don't have to show it, or we don't have to write it down, because unless we have decimal numbers or numbers that are going to be to the right of this decimal period, we don't have to show this decimal period. But there is a decimal period in here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this decimal period however many spaces I have to, and I'm going to move it to this direction all the way to the left, all the way to the left, until I get the first non-zero digit, or put a decimal number after the first digit, or after the first number. Okay, so these spaces, these however many spaces that I move right here, that I move this decimal period from here to right here after the first number right here, that is all the zeros, including the 3, because I'm counting the spaces, not the zeros, not just the zeros, but all the spaces in general, regardless of what the number is there. So altogether, there where I move my decimal period 25 times. So what I'm going to do now to write this number in scientific notation, I'm going to take this, the 1 and the 3 right here. I'm going to take all the digits that are not zeros, these, and I'm going to write right here 1.3. Okay, notice that there's my decimal period right there. And then I'm going to multiply this number, and I'm going to multiply it times 10. It's always going to be equals times 10, my friends, by the way, regardless of the number. Always equals to 10. We're always going to multiply this number times 10. And then for the 25 times that I move right here, my decimal period, I'm going to write a very small 25 right there, and that's going to be my exponent. And this, my friends, this is how we write this number right here in scientific notation. And the reason why is because if I was to solve this number following the order of operations, for example, right here I have the 10 times 25, okay, or I mean the 10 to the 25th power, or the 10 times itself 25 times, and then I multiply that result times 1.3. It'll give me back as a result this number right here. Okay, my friends, and this is how we turn very large number into scientific notation numbers, okay? And also your GED exam is going to ask you to do the opposite thing. It's going to give you right here the scientific notation number, and it's going to ask you to turn this back into a regular number. And how do you do that? Well, just by doing the opposite process. I have 1.3 right here, and this 25 right here is telling me that this decimal period was actually moved 25 times to the left. So now I want to move this decimal period right here 25 spaces, okay, to the right. And then what do I do with the empty spaces? I'm always fill the empty spaces with zeros, okay? And that will give me equals the number that I had before originally once I move my decimal period 25 times to the right and I fill the empty spaces with 0. Remember, that's 25 times 25 spaces, not 25 zeros, because I need to count the space that the 3 is also taking. Okay? Not to be confused, my friends, okay? Now, this is how we write scientific notation when it comes with very big numbers. But also now let us take a look with the small numbers. So I have right here this very small decimal number, 0.00254 of an inch. This, my friends, this is the average of a human hair thick. So it can vary depending from, from human to human. But to turn this number, this very small number, into scientific notation, I'm going to move this decimal period however many times I need until after the non-zero digit, which is the 2. After the non-zero digit, that is from left to right, we write from left to right. So the first non-zero digit that we encounter while we're moving this decimal period after this number, that's what we're going to drop, or where we're going to left the decimal period. So it looks like I moved my decimal period 3 times. Okay, so now using this number 3, this is what I'm going to use to write my scientific notation. I'm going to take 2.54, because remember, when it comes to scientific notation, my friends, I always have to write all the non-zero digits, however many I have. I might have a lot, I might have just a few. So I'm going to write 2.5, 2.54. There is my decimal period. And then I'm going to multiply that times, you guess right, number 10. And then I'm going to take this little number 3 right here and use my number 3 as an exponent. And as a result, because I was dealing with a very small number, or I was going to the opposite direction, my exponent is going to be negative. Okay? Very nice. So our exponent is negative whenever we are doing scientific notation or writing scientific notation with small numbers. Okay. Also, your GED exam, of course, is going to ask you to do the opposite. It's going to give you a very small number wrote on scientific notation, and it's going to ask you to convert it back to a regular number. This minus 3 is telling me that it's like a way to tell me that this number, it used to be very small. And to make this number smaller, 2.54, should I move this decimal period to the right or to the left? Well, if I move it to the right, I will actually make the number bigger. I can move it, if I move it 3 spaces to the right, it'll turn into 254, actually 2540, and that will not be correct. So this number, that negative exponent, is telling me that it used to be a very small number. So I'm going to move this decimal period 3 spaces to the right, to the left. Okay, and it's going to end up like right here. And then remember, my friends, that we always use zeros to fill up the empty spaces. This space is already taken by the 2. So my result, my friends, is actually going to be this number right here. Okay, so went back to the original number. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video and this lesson, and I hope that you guys stay safe and healthy and have a great day. Bye bye.